Hi, welcome to our first part of Knowledge Graph for Manufacturing and Industry webinar series. My name is Kabul Kurniawan and I'm a researcher at the Austrian Center of Digital Production, and today we would like to talk about the introduction of the Knowledge Graph. As the agenda for this talk, we're going to talk about what is the Knowledge Graph, and then we will see the technology behind the Knowledge Graph, the Open Knowledge Graph as an example, and the implementation of Knowledge Graph in the manufacturing industry. What is a Knowledge Graph? Knowledge Graph is a concept that has been defined a long time ago, but Google as a big company also introduced Knowledge Graph in 2012. That's it about the concept of representing some information which is not string but a thing. And with the thing, you can link one entities to another entities, and you can make it more smarter to find something and to browse something. So for example, here you can see Marie Curie as an information. You will see that she was born and died, but you will also get the details of her education and scientific discoveries. Here you can find a lot of information behind this Marie Curie that is connected to her. So what is the Knowledge Graph? There are a lot of concepts that is defined by scientists and also reference that has different way to represent or define this Knowledge Graph. One way to define this Knowledge Graph is about the networks of entities, the semantic types, properties, and relationship between them, and also can be defined as a technique to extract new knowledge in the form of facts from the web, and these facts are related, and hence extracted knowledge graph has been referred to a knowledge graph. And we can see the example of the knowledge graph by the implementation of knowledge graph in different domains. So for example, here Google have their own knowledge graph that represents information in different entities. So for example, if you take a look at this search bar on the Google Knowledge Graph, you could find a lot of information including people, places, organization, and things, and it's related to each other. And it has a lot of knowledge graph that estimated to be 1 billion entities and 70 billion of facts in 2012. And also, it's the same as Microsoft Bing that also has their own knowledge graph for about 2 billion entities, and also with the Yahoo Knowledge Graph. That also provide the semantic search, fact search, question answering, personalization, and etc. And let's take a look at the implementation of Knowledge Graph in a commercial platform. For example, as you can see, Amazon provides this Knowledge Graph product that used to provide better platform to recommend a product and also provide the user with the personal assistance. And here it's also the same with Alibaba concept that also provide this knowledge graph to improve their platform, and also with the eBay that has this open source Beam, Ekutan knowledge graph stores, and etc. So now let's take a look at the technology behind this knowledge graph. As you can see, that knowledge graph is a representation of a concept. For example, a person that has pets, for instance, dog in this case. In knowledge graph, a person can be represented as an entity or object and owned as the relation or predicates. This collection of the triples become knowledge graph that we can see here. There are several ways to represent and store knowledge graph. For instance, using graph database, you can store knowledge graph with labeled property graph. And also there are standard that is provided by W3C. For instance, here the semantic web technology stack that is consists of RDF, OWL, Sparkle, and etc. And also commercial knowledge graph that often based on proprietary technology stack provided by some company, and also some components that's built by communities such as schema.org. And here we take a look at this summary of the characteristic of the knowledge graph. First is the knowledge graph is using graph-based representation that can be used to represent in a flexible way the schema and the structure of the data, and it can be used to flexibly query the data. And it also supports for context-rich representation to enrich this data on the knowledge graph. And it also supports the explicit semantics, where the machine can understand and can integrate this data to infer or to reason new knowledge that is implicit before. And it also supports decentralizations, means that knowledge graph doesn't necessarily to be in a centralized repository, but it could also be in distributed way or distributed settings. And as we talked already, that it supports standard-based technology that everyone can use. And now let's take a look at the example of the open knowledge graph. For instance, here, DBpedia. DBpedia is openly available knowledge graph extracted from Wikipedia infobox. As you can see, the London information that is extracted from the Wikipedia infobox can be represented as a knowledge graph that everyone can query that information. For example, everyone could query city in the UK with more than 1 million population, for example. Now, let's take a look at the knowledge graph implementation on the industry and manufacturing domain, where the knowledge graph could represent the multiple domain expert knowledge from different stakeholders. For example, the resource from the people, the machine, and also from the organization that can be used to tackle the issue of the digital production. We would like to talk about in more detail in the next videos. And that's all for the presentation. Thank you for watching our Knowledge Graph for Industry webinar. Follow us on social media and have a nice day.